Staff, would you take the roll? Clerk, would you take the roll?
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Seiden. Ms. Tanner. Mr. Burke.
Here.
Mr. Laughlin. Mr. Bender.
Here.
And Mr. Corbin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Burke, I believe you have a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to reverse the order of the agenda and move number 2 up to number 1.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor of reversing the order to have the comprehensive bicycle and pedestrian plan discussed first, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition. If you guys would present first on the bicycle and pedestrian plan.
Okay, great.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Bruce Richards with NY Associates. We're the lead consultant on this project, which is being done actually by the Regional Planning Commission in coordination with the Parish. Yeah, we're up. Excellent. I'll try to make this as brief as possible. Just to give you guys a little project background description, the Parish has seen tremendous growth over the last 50 years. However, Parish and its cities and municipalities have not substantially increased the supply of bicycle and pedestrian facilities over the last 20 years, leading to things like this, which you can see on your screen. This is Harrison Avenue, Parish roadway here, and no sidewalks, nothing else. Someone just is walking on the grass alongside a relatively busy street to get to where they're going. Been a lot of movement on to better this situation. The New Directions 2040 plan was adopted just 3 years ago, and it provided for different strategies and incentives for bicycle and pedestrian accommodations, and for not just new roadways, but also to retrofit existing but incomplete roadways like Harrison we just saw, so that people can walk and bike safely within, say, Tammany Parish. This was specifically mentioned within the plan. You can see it circled here in red. Develop a bicycle master plan to guide development of the parish, parish's network of bikeways and shared use of trails. There's been also in the background a lot of the cities, Mandeville, Covington, etc. They've already completed and adopted their own bike and or pedestrian plans. This is an example from Mandeville showing some of the routes they looked at. And an important aspect of this parish-wide effort for the non-incorporated areas is to connect to the various cities' existing and proposed bicycle facilities, and the ones that were proposed within their plans. What we are doing under this project, I'll go through this with you very quickly. First off, as I mentioned, the RPC and the parish, in collaboration with local stakeholders, community input, we're completing this bicycle and pedestrian plan to enhance the community's pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. We've been doing workshops, surveys, pop-up events. We've got a lot of community feedback. We've been doing this over the past year, ensuring that the final recommendations reflect the needs and the desires of our residents. What have we completed to date? Our first efforts. We reviewed existing data and plans, prepared an existing conditions report. We looked at pedestrian and bicycle crash data from the DOTD to find out where the hot spots were we want to specifically identify, prepared an existing conditions report, and we prepared a base map of all the existing and proposed from other plans bicycle and pedestrian facilities in the parish. That's what this looked like. As you can see, it's not too busy. Most of those lines on there that you see are the dashed lines. That's stuff that's proposed. Things that were solid lines are what's existing. And the biggest one you can see, of course, is the Tammany Trace going from Mandeville just about to Slidell. We completed a robust public engagement component. It was in 2 phases. The first phase was very early this year, January and February. The purpose was to inform the citizens about the plan and to get their initial input and some ideas for where they'd like to see some bicycle and pedestrian improvements. That's a photo from the meeting here in this room. Second phase was in July and August after we had completed our draft plans, our draft network. And we want to share that with the public to get their input and feedback on the network, as well as any proposed policies and programs. It's not just a bricks and mortar, there's also some proposed policies and programs. Just more photos of the public outreach. That's a meeting on the left there, held in Slidell at the Towers building. On the right was what we call a pop-up. We did these at places like the Farmers Market in Folsom, the Farmers Market in Abita Springs, and we even took it to the people in Tallahassee at the Dollar General, because that was the best place to get people in Tallahassee. Did that twice, in the winter and in the spring. In the winter it was freezing cold, and in the summer it was hot as heck. But anyway, we got that done. We also had online engagement. This was very interesting, cutting edge. Amazingly, people have gotten to be so used to being online that we got most of our replies and most of our input from online services. We had surveys, we had maps in which people could zoom in and say, I want a bike path here, I'd like sidewalks here, we have a lot of trouble with crossing the street here. Got a lot of input that way. Probably over, for each phase, about 300 responses. The common themes we got back from the public was a need or desire for improvements in infrastructure. People want bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure and new developments. Safety is also a prevalent theme, mainly because why they wanted it. They had concerns not just safely crossing roadways at corners and whatnot, but also going along roadways, riding a bike, or the person we saw in Harrison, walking along the grass. They wanted better bike path amenities for things that are out there, benches, water stations. They wanted better bike path access to schools, to shopping, between subdivisions. They wanted enforcement of rules and regulations. These are some of the smaller themes. We also found that there was definitely a preference for facilities separated from vehicular lanes. Rather than bicycle lanes right next to traffic, they like things like the trace that are separate or some distance away, like the West Oxner side path. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that. Connectivity, being able to go between different places, and at the end of the project, especially in our most recent phase, very positive response to the project in general. It's been very satisfying to hear people say that we were doing a good job, they like what we were doing, they're looking forward to seeing things come to fruition. That being said, after all that public input, we had completed a draft pedestrian bicycle network, which is being finalized. Using all the work and the initial public received, we prepared a draft bicycle and pedestrian map or plan. We started with the existing facilities, looked at all the planned facilities from previous plans, including the parish's multimodal transportation plan. I'm sure you guys went through that earlier this year. We then, after all that stuff was put together, we added in the missing links with the consultants in the Regional Planning Commission to create a complete network. And the types of proposed bike facilities that we mapped were, I'll give you just a little lowdown here. On the upper left, bike lanes. These are just striped with on-site things. Paved shoulders. This one actually has a stripe with a signal, with symbol for a bicyclist. But DOTD's roadways prefer a 10-foot wide shoulder, which is adequate for biking and pedestrian. Shared use path, that's on the top right. Your classic example of that is your Tammany Trace. It's not related to a roadway, it's its own shared use path for bicyclists, runners, joggers, etc. On the bottom left, you have separated bike lane. That's separated either by a space or with bollards or with poles or whatever. Side path, that's the bottom middle. That's the most common one that people tend to like. Again, classic example in the parish is West Oxner side path. People tend to like these because you can use them for both bicyclists and pedestrians, and if it's not a DOT roadway, you can put that on only one side, as it is in West Oxner. And then, of course, sidewalks. One other one we're looking at is bicycle boulevards up on the upper right. These are basically your low traffic streets in which you just put down perhaps a symbol on the roadway with the bicycle, a sign that says share the road, just to let people know that bicyclists are out there. And there's different speed management techniques we see on the left here. This is the overall network map which we came up with. It's a combination of all those different types of facilities. A lot of paved shoulders in the north, the more rural sections, different side paths, sidewalks, bicycle boulevards and stuff in the south. At this level, this is an overall, you can't really see it too well, but if you look at the next page, the next two here we're going to look at are focused in. This one is on the southwest corner of the parish with Madisonville, Mandeville, Covington, and Abita Springs. On these, you can see each route has a number assigned to it, where the segment is and what different color coding for what it's proposed. The light green is what you call a side path. The purple are sidewalks. Regular green is the Tammany Trace here. Blue is bike lanes. It goes on and on. This is, again, the Mandeville southwest area. Here's the southeast, Slidell. Probably the next biggest urbanized area. And you can see how everything on here has a number corresponding to information for each project or each improvement. And this is a matrix list. Every one of those numbers corresponds to a definition of the project. What type of project is it? What's its number on the map? Its name, description of what's involved with it. Who's responsible for which roadway is it on? Is it on a DOTD roadway, a parish roadway, a city roadway? Estimated cost, this was done earlier. We have just completed doing cost estimates for all of them except for right-of-way. That's getting a little bit too involved, but we do know which ones will require right-of-way and which ones don't. And if they were in previous plans, we had on there the project time frame. In addition to these linear improvements, we had over 168 locations to identify for intersection treatments. These are not only where new bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure is proposed, but also where some already exist. This one right here is an example of a signalized intersection already with signals, walk, don't walk indicators. There's actually a few of those in the parish already. Roundabouts, you look on the upper left, it shows you how roundabouts would be treated, how you can get around a roundabout. The right-hand side shows what we call rectangular, rapidly flashing beacons. These are pedestrian or bicyclist controlled. You hit them at a crosswalk, it flashes. So that you don't just rely on the piano keys across a crosswalk at a corner or any other location. You can hit this and it lets cars know a little bit more that someone's getting ready to cross. Those were the bricks and mortar kind of improvements. We also had several recommended parish-wide policies and programs that are going to be in our plan. The biggest of these is a complete streets policy. We did a model complete streets policy. It's developed based upon local, state, national examples. DOTD already has their own. Several parishes have their own. This is going to govern, hopefully, parish transportation projects and private development along roadways targeted for bicycle pedestrian improvements. Parish is doing this, a lot of this already with the 1088 bypass. They're including the side path along with that. Some other recommendations were to maintain the parish's incentive program for sidewalks in new residential subdivisions. We've heard this has been very successful. To promote pedestrian and bicycle connectivity between adjacent neighborhoods and subdivisions. Not automobile connections, but at least pedestrian and bicycle connections. So maybe kids can get to the next neighborhood without having to go on a busy highway. We want to maintain existing and future pedestrian and bicycle facilities. Bike paths, get cracks in them, just get potholes, trash on them, just like roadways. Need to keep them clean, need to keep up with them. And perhaps establish a pedestrian and bicycle advisory committee. A couple of programs we looked at. There's several educational programs offered by different organizations, Bike Easy, Bike Law Louisiana, et cetera, et cetera. There's encouragement programs that the parish can look at, walking maps, mobile apps on your phone has the best way to walk. There's Bike to Work Day, Walk and Bike to School Day. There's things such as evaluation programs, the 311 service, See, Click, Fix. It's when you see something, you can go to 311 and say, hey, there's a pothole here, there's a big gap in this bike path or this sidewalk, please fix it. Other programs, Safe Routes to Schools, which was just completed recently, Path to Zero, Safety Action Plan, things of that sort. We developed design guidelines, standards, and specifications. They've been accepted by the RPC. The parish is going to look at them in their engineering department very soon. We base those as things for linear bike ped facilities, for intersections themselves, bridges. There's going to be a lot of bridges alongside roadways because it'd be much more expensive to widen a roadway to put in a bike lane or sidewalk than to build a smaller bridge alongside. These were based on national and state standards and also included typical sections. And we didn't just, use a typical thing like this that shows the cross section, but we went in the different types of facilities looking at how you would treat drainage. How, if you're going to enclose drainage, where would the bike path go in relation to that? How could you enclose drainage? Where you might have to shift a ditch. We did all that with our design standards and specifications. There's an example here of how, in a situation on the left, this is kind of a bigger thing where you would enclose a ditch or a swale and put in the bike path above it. Save you right-of-way, less right-of-way cost. We also looked at wayfinding along the way. How far are you from different attractions? Here's a map that you might use. It's to human scale there. You can see the outline of the gentleman there, silhouette. Develop a program of projects. We're working on that right now. The cost estimate for all projects and the network plan, these are basically completed. They have to be checked over. Prioritized list of short and long-term improvements by location. We just did our first draft of that. We're going to have a meeting with RPC and review it tomorrow. Eventually it come to the parish there and put it well. We will do detailed project sheets for the first level, the highest level of projects. Very similar to what was done for the multimodal transportation plan. Show where it is, give some information, estimated cost, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to do a section, write up a section on possible funding sources for projects. We're not going to tell you, exactly where to get it, but different places that the parish and the RPC can look. The last thing we're going to do before this year is over is to prepare the master plan document. We're going to compile everything we've done together, which are basically discrete segments, which can be put together into a draft plan document with the text, the graphics, the maps, the cost estimates, everything. And we're going to work with the parish to present the final document to the Planning Commission for a recommendation. More than likely, this will be by the December meeting for the Planning Commission. Again, I mentioned the online outreach. Our project website is right there on the page. You guys should have a handout of that, direct link to our project website. All of our public input, the formal period has been completed, but we'll still take emails. We'll answer questions as needed. Anything we've written and has been completed so far is available. Maps, matrix lists, the complete streets policy. It's all online. You can also email it as this address, and we will answer emails. I've answered questions from citizens out on my boat in Horn Island a month ago, just detailing things. There's also a QR code that'll take you directly to the web page. But it's still out there. We're still answering questions. We're still taking comments and suggestions. That's it. I hope I wasn't too long. Any final comments or questions? I'll try my best to answer them.
Okay, Councilman Smith?
Mr. Richards,
Yes.
thank you. It's a great presentation. My eyes aren't good enough to read all those little dots and things as to what's going on.
That's why I recommend going online, because you can zoom in and see exactly where it
I
is.
plan on doing that. But this is really exciting. It's amenities that can improve the quality of life of people throughout the parish, obviously. Let me ask you, from the public, have you heard or had a lot of requests for more tunnels along the trace, tunnels underneath state highways, et cetera?
We've had, out of all our comments, it's funny you mentioned that, I would say we probably had about 4 comments relating to tunnels. People suggesting tunnels at different locations and whatnot. Yes,
I'm sure the one at Claiborne Hill up in Covington, Highway
I think that was
21
yeah.
and 190.
Somebody-
It's a situation. Nobody's been killed yet. There have been a few people wounded on their bicycles by getting hit by cars, etc. But it would be an appropriate location for a tunnel. I don't know, I don't know where the funding comes from for those kind of things. It won't be coming from our general fund.
No.
But it's definitely something that if you could help us locate sources for funding like that, whether it's through the state, the feds, I don't know. But it's definitely a safety issue, and the trace is a great asset here in St. Tammany. So anything we can do to protect those people that use it, I think would be something important.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Bender?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first, thank you for the presentation.
glad to do
Very
it.
good. I was mentioning to a couple of my colleagues, I happen to be in New Orleans, and when I got off of I-610, a major thoroughfare to the lake in New Orleans. So you from New Orleans?
Yeah, I'm Metairie, Old Metairie, yeah.
Okay. You know where Elysian Fields
Oh, yeah,
is?
yeah.
Okay. 2 lanes. Their bike lane is in the middle of the second lane. No, you got to go see this.
That's odd. Well, I can tell you,
Isn't somebody going to get killed with this?
Well, I will tell you this. As I mentioned this will probably assuage any of your worries or fears. As I mentioned, the public input on this was that they did not want things as much as possible within travel lanes.
Right.
There are only 4 out of 344 overall projects, about 160 linear routes. There's 4 bicycle lanes. Most of these are going to be separated within the parish.
Okay, great.
Now, this is, of course, excluding the few on the smaller local streets, what they call the bicycle boulevards that are 25, 30 miles per hour. Kind of,
right.
That's just a sign to say, to get from point A to point B, you could go ride your bike through this neighborhood. But major on-street things, there are only, not even that major, there's only 4 bike lanes within the entire network. recommend.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, we heard a lot about things like, please don't do what was on Severn and Metairie. Don't take away any of our roadway lanes. None of these would be recommended to take away roadway lanes or anything like that.
I mean, this is a reenactment of a bicycle, okay, like used with paint or whatever, and an arrow in front of it.
Yeah.
And it's right in the middle of one of the only 2 lanes on Elysian Fields.
That's unusual. It's odd. And generally, what we, in our research, what we found is that you don't want to do anything like that with any type of shared lane. They call that a shared, like a shared lane or a bicycle boulevard. Anything more than 30 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour. You don't want to do that. And we didn't do that. And, the only places we put those type of things where it's a shared lane, like a pavement marking and a sign saying share the road, is in things less than 30 miles an hour. And if I'm pretty sure that Elysian Fields is 35 at least.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, at least.
Thank you very much.
Glad to help you with that.
Thank you, Councilman Bender. Councilman Kugel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks again for the presentation. Second time I'm seeing it. Unfortunately, it wasn't recorded the last time, so I'm glad it's recorded.
Hopefully we got this one.
Right. Obviously, as I mentioned before, my main interest is the possibility along Military Road, which affects myself, Mr. Corbin, Mr. Burke, at least. I guess the most appropriate thing there, I understand, because it's a highway, it's a state highway, you'd have to do it on both sides.
Right.
And it would have to likely be a side path.
Side path, yeah, at least 10 foot off from the travel, 10 feet wide at least, and depending on the speeds, and I think on Military Road, there's a lot of it's 35, some of it might be 45 if I'm not incorrect. You need at least 5 foot, gap between the edge of the roadway and the shared use path.
And as far as how far do you think, like from the end of the road, because it's 1090, so how long, what do you think there'd be the distance for that projected?
If you're talking about in the network, we've got projected side paths all the way from where Military Road begins at 433, all the way up to the intersection in Pearl River.
Okay.
It's not all one segment.
Beyond 59.
Yeah, all the way up to 59. It's not one segment. I think it's 1, 2, maybe 3. I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it's 433 to Gauze. No, it might be another segment. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I know it's definitely more than one segment. All along Military Road should be a side path.
And is it? You said you've seen before where you can build like a side path on top of a ditch.
Oh, well, you can enclose the ditch. You change it from underground drainage, or excuse me, you change it from a ditch, and you basically lay pipe over it, and then you have to. But the key thing is you have to be able to put in drainage inlets. What the parish recently has done on Sharp Road has done what they call drop inlets, grate drainage. It's not, there's no curb. It's still sheet flow, but then it goes into, a metal grate, and you can utilize that room just on one side of the metal grate, because the ditch itself, with the depth of the ditch and the width of the ditch is a certain size, and it's a lot smaller to put the grate over that, and you come up with more room, you'll save right of way. From what I understand, they're doing Sharp Road. What I understand, and speaking with the engineering department, I believe, they're doing a sidewalk on Sharp Road, and the fact that they were enclosing drainage enabled them to have the room to put a sidewalk off the side. But similar things in our document. There's all these different cross sections to show how it can be done and how it would be done with. You would enclose the ditches, and we've got those cost estimates in our costs for each project. Not only just to the pavement, but the cost to do the drainage. And in most cases, that's probably more. Almost always, that's going to be more than it is to actually just build the path.
And that was one of your most requested sites. Was that correct?
Yeah, we're completing the prioritization clearly in terms of the last public outreach period in July and August, online and in person, it scored the highest. And it's when we include everything that was said in the first round of public meetings, Military Road was ranked very high.
Okay, and the last question, procedurally,
Sure.
how funding and such, the RPC would have to endorse it, and then it would go, you would try to find a funding source, or how does that work?
Well, it's like anything else in funding, whether it's going to be something like, a new parish roadway, or a lot of these involve stuff along DOTD highways. It's going to be a concerted effort. The RPC will be able to help the parish with obtaining funding for improvements, whether it's going to be, there's a lot of things in here that were built or designed or thought of off of new roadway projects from the MMTP. There's a lot of brand new roadways recommended in the MMTP, and our suggestion was, if you're going to build a new roadway, make sure to include sidewalks or side paths along with it, all at the same time. Or if you're widening a roadway, if you're going to be widening something, the way it's being done up on 190 by Covington, in their environmental assessment, the plan is to include side paths on both sides. It is a state and federal highway. That's supposed to be the next phase, but they're going to include those. So it's a concerted effort between the state DOTD, the parish, and the RPC, which helps the parish in a lot of its infrastructure improvements to obtain funding from whatever source available, federal grants, state monies, planning for these things with the state when they're going to improve their state highways, and the parish is going to improve their roads or build new roads.
Thank you.
Glad to help.
Great. Thank you, Councilman Kugel. Councilwoman Seiden?
I just have a quick question.
Sure,
I don't know
ma'am.
I if you've already answered this, but I am really excited about this program. But when will you finish the prioritization process? Is that
I don't know when we're going to finish it. I do know that tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I sent the RPC the draft of everything based upon prioritization. And I need to add this too as well. Prioritization is not just cost. There are 5 categories we're looking at in prioritization. There's safety. There is connectivity between different things.
Right.
There was public input. That was key. There is, of course, what we call constructability implementation, for lack of a better term, is cost. Some things don't require right-of-way. They score a little higher, but that's construction implementation. And then what's known as equity and access. It's a federal funded program, so we have to include that. Those 5 categories each have different weights to them. Mm-hmm. There's scores for each of them, and then boom, you come up with total score. We've done that. Our first draft is in. We're meeting with the RPC tomorrow to go over it. Once we've got that handled, we'll be having the parish review it and give their input. Mm-hmm. And it'll also go past our project management team, which is got everybody from different people in the parish and people representing the parish government, DOTDs on PMT, everyone that can have a little oversight of. It's like a steering or an oversight committee. They'll look at it too.
okay? Can we get a copy of that when you guys finish tomorrow, or is that too soon?
That's only RPC's review. And in fact, they're
Okay.
probably going to give some comments, and we have to adjust a few things.
Okay.
And then it's got to go to the parish. I can't let that out to the public, but to be honest with you, I can tell you I'm very happy with the way it's fallen out. It's a really wide range of projects all across the parish. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some high scoring projects of paved shoulders up in the north, just to get people somewhere a chance to go if a car is trying to pass them, if they're riding bikes on the roadway. But I think it's a very good mix, some of the bigger projects and some of the smaller projects as you go down the list. So I'm very optimistic about it. We'll see what the RPC says tomorrow. We're supposed to be completing the prioritization in October, and during the month of October we'll be, after that's done, compiling everything together and get a final draft. I think the next time we can get something to you, you can work with Ross. He can tell you what he can get you. He's been working great with us and helping us out a lot, he and his planning department. But again, I think we'll have our draft complete in November and finalize it, and then give it to the Planning Commission. I think their meeting is December 9th. I have it on my calendar. And hopefully that's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Seiden. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming today. Councilwoman Seiden asked the question I was going to ask about, about the prioritization.
Yes.
So I have no more questions. I do want to tell you thank you very much for doing this.
Oh.
I appreciate it. I've heard very positive comments in my district and from people in the parish about this even happening. And so there's a lot of excitement about what the potential might yield in the long term.
It really is. And to just get, going through the comments after the public input period in July was completed, to get comments like, okay, I'd like something here, I like this plan, and just to get a comment that says like, Great job. Keep up the good work. You know, this is great. That makes you feel good about what you do. And this has been one of the best projects in that kind of regard, and something that I feel that's going to be a great thing in the future for the parish.
Thank you very much. One last request, if you
Yes.
could give our staff member one of your business cards.
I'll give
so
her
they
all
can-
of them, and you can pass them
so they
out.
can distribute it. I'd
I
sure
brought some
appreciate
just
it.
for that.
All right.
On the presentation handout at the last stage or not? Or is your contact information on the presentation?
I don't think mine is. It's only for the website itself. But my
It's-
personal,
Ross, it's not.
but my personal,
Not on the first
my
page
personal
either.
card
All right.
with everything, including my cell phone number, which I will answer at Horn Island on the boat.
Great. Thank you very much.
Glad to help, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to give you guys a share of the information.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Given the time and the fact that some other meetings went long, can I get a motion to, no, I'm not, let me finish what I want first. Could I get a motion, Councilman Smith, to delay the discussion of the capital outlay program to our next meeting? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, now can I get a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Thank you.